Hey everybody, it's Matt Pinfield, and this is KLOS New and Approved. It's Women's History Month, and I couldn't think of a better guest to have on this week than Lzzy Hale, who has one of the greatest rock voices in my mind. I mean, I think she's one of the best singers in rock and roll today, and I'm really happy to have her here. Lzzy, it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Matt. So you're looking well?
Yeah, I've been taking good care of myself, even through this pandemic. Instead of not taking care of myself, I decided to turn things around and get really healthy. So that's working out well for me. But Lzzy, it's amazing because, you and I go back to, I think, about the time you were 15 years old. I mean, I've known you since you were a young teen. I would come see you play because, there were these festivals that were music conferences that would take place in the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. I remember there was one called Millennium Conference that was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I did a keynote there. And then there was the Dewey Beach Music Conference, which is in Dewey Beach, Delaware. And I was always really enamored by your talent. I said, this young lady is going to be an amazing talent. She's got an incredible future. And here we are all these years later, and you're absolutely killing it. Isn't it amazing? What are some of your memories of those early days? Because, you started really in the early teens. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, this was the first band I was ever in. We started when I was 13 and in the summer of 97. And we hit the ground running. We played anywhere and everywhere they'd let us play. Even if it was like, can we just do it for pizza? We'll just do it for free pizza, and so, but the Millennium Music Conference stuff, thankfully my parents, that was kind of like Christmas gifts for my brother and I, because we got you tickets to go, to go get in, and we'll end up doing a showcase, and you'll go to the panels, and so we went to every panel. Went to the lawyer panel and the label panel and the management panel, and we were the annoying kids that would stand outside and be like, here's our press kit, here's our demo. It's like hoping somebody would hear it and give us some. And we got such great advice. We met so many amazing people, yourself included. It was just a beautiful and joyous time. We didn't know anything about the business. My parents, we didn't come from money. My parents, we grew up on a 20-acre farm, with chickens and donkeys and stuff. And so it was really cool to just, go into the cities and learn as much as you could about this thing, this almost intangible thing that that's all you wanted to do. All we wanted to do is be, in a band and figure out how to keep doing this for the rest of our lives. So just keep leveling up. And so the goal hasn't really changed. We're still always moving forward.
It's amazing. And I look at your history, and I'm seeing now that you're about to, start working on the follow-up to your 2018 album. And, you finally got back together with the guys in the band, right? Because, you've been literally very safe and on lockdown in Nashville the entire time. Because you and I have been in touch, because we've been doing back-to-back streams, like you were doing Raise Your Horns. I was doing this one called In a Lonely Place, and we were always back-to-back. So we always knew what each other were doing during the pandemic. But, it's great. I know your fans are so excited that you guys are getting back to working on this new record. Tell me about the record, and tell me about the songwriting process, because you've had a lot of time to really get into the songs.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's been a roller coaster ride, because we were writing for the record and actually getting together right here in my home studio every single day before lockdown happened, which was, I think tomorrow marks a year to the day when all of that craziness started. So, we were getting together and we were writing songs, and then slowly but surely, it just felt like every single day we were getting more bad news, and we just basically made a decision, okay, guys, until this blows over, which we thought it was going to blow over, let's everybody just stay at home. So so the songwriting process kind of became more or less this relay sport, where it would start with myself and my guitar player, and then we would pass it off to Josh, bass player, and pass it off to send it to RJ. And so it was this crazy, we just ended up building up this kind of Dropbox of ideas. And then we started including our producer, Nick Raskulinitz, in all of these ideas. And so we'd go back and forth with that. And then finally, just a couple weeks ago, we got asked to perform the Who's Long Live Rock for the documentary Long Live Rock, which actually premieres tomorrow. And so that was kind of our, okay, well, we have to get together and do this in a real studio. So everyone get tested and everybody wear your mask the whole time. And it was kind of like shaking off the dust. It was getting the band back together again. So it was kind of cool to initially break through with a Who song, and then we started in on our actual material. But as far as subject matter, I'm just now seeing this arc, because there were the songs that we were writing just kind of coming off the road, where it's very confident and very like, live and energy. And then it kind of starts to get still keeping the energy up, but then like subject matter starts to get a little crazier and maybe a little darker, and then it's kind of starting to dip into some more hope now. So it's just, I feel like in real time this is going to kind of be like almost a musical documentary of what we've gone through this past year and change.
Yeah, I mean, you've kept yourself busy, obviously, by doing as many things as you could, besides, like I said, doing a streaming show. You've done a lot of things for charity, which are very cool too. I know you were part of that whole Detour Festival to Save Our Stages. One of the things that's always been amazing to me is, because of your incredible voice, because people love to hear you sing, Lzzy, you have done more collaborations and duets than I think pretty much any woman in rock. I mean, I've got to say that. I mean, and a lot of great ones. And I've always wanted to ask you, is there one in particular that really stands in your mind that was an incredible experience that you can tell us about? Because there are so many. I know that's kind of hard to narrow down, but
I mean, it is, especially in the past, year and some. I think that during this whole lockdown, I've done about 10 or so collaborations. I'm actually about to do another one next weekend. It's just, it's amazing that people even want, that they want to ask me to do things. They want to include me in their projects. And more times than not, I say yes. Even if I'm not necessarily familiar with the genre, or the band sometimes, because it opens up something else within me. I think, to narrow it down, one of the most spiritual experiences and collaborations that I've done was writing with the Who, the Who, not the Who. They're a Mongolian hard rock band, and they none of them speak English, and they wrote this song that basically was. It's an instrumental, but they kind of chant some things underneath in Mongolian, and they wrote this song called "Song of Women." So speaking of, International Women's Day and Women's History Month, it's all working out, Matt. It's all thematic. But they asked me. They said, "Look, here's the subject matter. We want you to write an entire new song on top of our existing song. So just pretend like what we're singing in the background is just kind of background noise." And so I did. I took 3 days and I wrote this song, and just in English and my interpretation of it, and sang on it, and then went back to the guys, and they loved it. They're like, "Oh my gosh, everything that we're saying in the background, you absolutely nailed." And we did a video, but when we got together and we've only ever performed it once live. The way they do this traditional Mongolian throat singing, this like stuff, and so it's just amazing to watch, and it's amazing to be surrounded by these guys that are. It's almost like they're so connected with just the earth and whatever spirituality. It's just it was such a beautiful thing, and the project kind of came together. Just just through a series of phone calls, and they just wanted me to do it with them, and the fact that they trusted me with words and with their art was so amazing. And it since has touched so many different lives, and I get letters about that all the time. And I look back on it after spending 3 days writing the song, and it's almost like it was kind of gifted to me. It's like I didn't really do it, and those things are rare, so I definitely hold that one near and dear to my heart.
That's great. Now, one of the other songs that we played is your cover with "In This Moment" with Marianne Taylor Momsen of "We Will Rock You." Tell me about that experience, and because I know you've obviously toured with these bands, you've known these ladies, you've been friends with them for years. I mean, a band doing 250 shows a year like Halestorm does. I mean, you form a lot of great relationships over those years. Tell me how this one came about.
Well, absolutely. We've been friends for years. We've toured together. We know each other's talents, and one of the best things about creating friendships on the road is that they understand exactly what you're going through. So it's like every time we see each other, you just pick up right where you left off. Like it's like no time goes by. One of the silver linings of this pandemic, though, is that we've had a lot more time to like actually just FaceTime with each other, or like talk on the phone, or like there's a couple text threads that I have with both, especially both Taylor and Maria, and then Amy Lee as well. Like we've gotten quite close over this pandemic as well. Taylor and I always joke. We're like, okay, well, who's going to have the first one out to radio, and who's going to have the number one before each other? We have a nice friendly competition going on. So it kind of came about like that. Maria ended up asking both Taylor and I to be on it, and of course, anytime that these ladies need my assistance, I'm like yes, absolutely, I will be there at your service. So this was a lot of fun, because the great thing about We Will Rock You is that it's such an amazing Queen song, but by putting three female voices on it, it kind of takes a different turn, and I feel like it takes a more more female empowerment nod, I guess. But that was a lot of fun to do. They ended up asking me to do the lead guitar as well, which I'm responsible for maybe a quarter of the lead guitar in Halestorm. So it was fun to like be like, all right, cool. I got to put on my big girl pants and try to play some Brian May.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for that little challenge. But yeah,
Lzzy, let's talk about the film Long Live Rock. Like I've said, I'm in it for a millisecond, but there are so many of our great friends and all your contemporaries and all the people that you've played with over the years. Talk to me about why this is such a special film.
This is such an important film, especially now, because all of us on both sides of the coin, but the performers and the fans, we've gone a really long time without getting that release, getting that fix, so to speak, of the live show. There are a lot of people that I know that they base their entire year on festival season, and that's the beautiful thing about this film, is that it absolutely showcases that common thread between. So it's not just about us rocking out and our perspective of things, but it really digs in to the importance of rock shows to these fans and their personal stories, and how the reason why people crowd surf, and why there's a mosh pit, and it even dives in a little bit to the psychological release that goes along with that. So it's not just about entertainment, and it's so beautiful, and I think that it's really going to be needed right now. And so, like I said, it premieres tomorrow, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. And if anybody's like me, you'll probably get a little emotional watching it. I was getting emotional just talking about it. There's a little bit of a round table that happens after the premiere, actually, that I've been allowed to promote with myself and Jacoby and Miles Kennedy, and just talking to those boys about the shows and about the documentary. We all got a little misty in that. So make sure you stick around after the premiere.
It's great. I mean, like I said, there were so many great people there, and it really does capture that incredible relationship between artist and fan there, and it's in the rock genre. There is none like that. There is no other genre comes close. I mean, maybe country, but rock certainly, and that's why I love that the film was called Long Live Rock. Your cover of it, we really think is great as well. So, Lzzy, tell me about some of the other stuff that's going on. I know you're working on the record, and you've been doing some of the other great things you've been doing. You've been doing a year in music on Access TV. You've been taking on a lot of other great projects. Tell me about some of the other things that we can look forward to that you are working on besides the album that we're waiting for.
Something that I ended up doing just as a personal goal during the pandemic, because, like I said, I literally, since I was 13 years old when we started this band, I've never gone this long without a live show. I mean, because at least when we were 13, I had like a bowling alley gig twice a month. I'll totally take, again, right now, just tell me where it is. I'll play next to the stale pizza. But one great thing that came out of this is that I said yes to a lot of adventures that I probably wouldn't have if we had remained touring and we'd remained as busy as that we were. So yeah, I'm actually as of next week, I'm filming for season 4 of A Year in Music. They asked me back again, and then I get on a plane for the first time to go to LA the week after that and spend I think it's about 11 to 13 days filming for a show called No Cover, which is basically, like American Idol and The Voice, but for rock bands. And I'm a judge on that, and my fellow judges are Alice Cooper and Gavin Rossdale, Bishop Briggs, Tosin Abasi. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And the reason I said, yes to this, because it's like, okay, yeah, reality TV, awesome. There's definitely going to be some challenges and some humor that end up putting themselves in there. But the beautiful thing about this is that it's not just about, who's the winner. We not only, get to, judge and help them with their songs and with their moments and with their stage presence, but it's also like, hey, what happens when the amps go down and you have to stall? What are you going to say? Are you looking at the audience? What about that jacket? So I feel like everybody that is involved will get to take a little something from all of us to move forward, even regardless of the winner. So that'll be fun.
It's going to be amazing. Since I'm definitely one of the guys on the show, since I'm doing all the interviews with the contestants, which will be really fun, and I'm excited to be working with all of you. So it's going to be a real kind of homecoming thing when you get back to LA with everybody that's working together with Alice and Gavin, like you said, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited. I'll be seeing you literally, I think, for about 12 days in a row, which is cool. It's going to be great.
You're going to be sick of me by 12 days in a row. Like, can we go back to talking on a screen?
No, I don't think it'll ever happen. I mean, you're always such a pleasure to talk to. I got to say, is there anything else you can say about, we talked about the songwriting on the new album. Is there anything else you can kind of give us a little bit of, information on any song titles or just get some of the stuff that you've been writing? Is there anything that you can share with us?
I think that the biggest thing that I absolutely want to share with everybody is that taking off of what happened and then on the last record, where we really kind of just started to dig in just a little bit more, to my truth and our truth as a band, and in both music wise and subject matter wise, we're absolutely doubling down on all of that. I think that the one thing that happened when we got in the studio is that we were putting all of our energy that we probably would have been putting on the stage into the live room. My guitar player Joe and I were doing all of the main guitars literally facing each other, just playing live with each other. So it makes it a little interesting, because if one of us messes up, you got to do it over again if we both do. Which makes a little bit more challenging, but we're doing it with Nick Raskulinecz, who, obviously, like, his track record, the Foo Fighters and Alice in Chains and Mastodon and, literally every favorite record.
Nick's a great producer, really is.
Awesome. So we're getting it done, and I feel like every single record we get a little closer and closer. To not only the live show, but you get to kind of open yourself up a little more and a little more and a little more to our audience. So this one is definitely going to be, just feeding the fans. I think that I already know that they're going to be stoked and they're going to love it. But most of all, I'm absolutely over the moon about it. So
yeah, it'll be great. We're very excited about it, and I'm going to try and stop in and see you in Nashville. I will definitely see you when you get to Los Angeles and we start shooting the show. I'm excited about No Cover. Like you said, it's kind of the anti-American Idol or Voice, and I say that not because it's all original material, and it's really multidimensional in a lot of ways, and I love that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And you're a perfect host for it, too. I mean, I'm sorry, perfect judge is what I meant to say, because you're always so encouraging. Which I love. You're always encouraging. I think the thing that's interesting that you took away from those early years when I saw you as a teenager was, because everybody, including myself, really was rooting for you and was warm and was there and kind of gave advice when you asked, and like you were talking about all those people, and I see you doing that same thing and passing that on to young musicians, and I love that. I think it's great.
I have to say, Matt, that I just want to thank you so much for being one of those people that were so encouraging, because when you're young, the world is open. You don't really know anything. You don't know anything you don't know about the roadblocks. You don't know about, what's coming up next. And by you, and I say you specifically because I remember our conversations, and I remember thinking, well, if Matt thinks we're cool, and he's seen a lot of bands, and he's got a history of knowing what's up, so maybe we are cool, and regardless of whether you were lying or not, I really appreciate that. And I had this conversation actually with Seven Dust, because when I was when we were younger, we met them at the NAMM convention, like our first NAMM convention ever, and they let us backstage, and we got to know them. So when they came through Pennsylvania, we went to go see them, and we were brazen young kids, so we knocked on their bus. Which, by the way, I would never do that now. For some reason, as a teenager, I'm like, yeah, let's just go knock on the bus. And they remembered who we were. They took our demo, and then they played one of the songs on our demo through their PA speakers before their show. And I told this to Morgan. I'm like, it was the same thing. It was like the fact that you encouraged us. We're like, well, if one of our favorite bands thinks we got something enough to play our demo through their PA, well, maybe we do. Let's keep doing this. So those little steps are so important, and it's like, hey, you got something, keep doing it. You'll figure it out, So I just want to personally just just thank you for that and for being one of those guiding lights for us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lzzy. It was a pleasure, and again, we've come full circle. It's fantastic to have you here. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Your sick setup.
Yeah, isn't it? It's KLOS, man. It's just they do it very nicely here, and I love it. And it's just great that you get to see all this stuff and all these great graphics of your stuff here. I love it. Every day I walk in here and I'm like, I work with some amazing people here. I work with the greatest team of people, I just got to say. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you so much, Lzzy. I appreciate you doing it. And we'll see you soon. All right? You got it. So great catching up with Lzzy Hale from Halestorm. And they're in the studio working on a new album right now. Thanks so much for watching. I'm your host, Matt Pinfield. You've been checking out KLOS New and Approved.